Welcome to Payoff Pitch Action Network's Major League Baseball betting podcast. I'm Collin Whitchurch. I'm joined by Derek Carty for a quick look at the Friday MLB slate. It's a full slate, and it's kind of a strange weekend in that while teams are jockeying for playoff positioning, none of them are really facing off this weekend. The one exception, though, is in Toronto, where two shoe-in playoff teams meet in a potential World Series matchup. Between the Brewers and Blue Jays, Freddie Peralta versus Shane Bieber facing off in that one tonight. We also have a couple of exciting MLB debuts tonight. Boston's top pitching prospect, Peyton Toll. Is it Toll? Is it Tolley? I tried to look up the pronunciation before the podcast. Not really sure. In any case, he's coming up tonight, debuting against none other than Paul Skeens and the Pirates in Red Sox Pittsburgh tonight. And in New York, after the success of Nolan McLean this month, the Mets are calling up Jonah Tong for the stretch run to face off against the Marlins with Yuri Perez on the other side. I'm not sure if either of us will have plays on any of those games tonight. We'll see, but worth mentioning at least. Definitely have my eyes on those guys to see how we can attack their matchups going forward the rest of the season. But let's jump over to best bets now. I've got a money line play for mine, but I'll toss it to you first, Derek, as you're targeting a player prop tonight in Cubs versus Rockies, where Cade Horton matches up against German Marquez.
Yeah, I'm looking at Horton under 15.5 outs. Best line right now is minus 115, but pretty widely available around that number. Horton is a guy who doesn't have a long leash. He's always been like a 80 pitch kind of guy in the minors, and even once he's been called up to the majors this year. We're getting deeper into the season. He's a young guy. They might be trying to kind of reel him in, keep him healthy and whatnot for the stretch run, for potentially playoffs for next year. Of late, he's had an even shorter leash than usual. In his last 5 games, he's gone over 75 pitches just once. And today he's going into Coors Field. He's facing the Rockies, of course, but I think the Rockies offense is a little better than people give it credit for. And we're getting the good side of the inning barrier here at 15.5. So he can complete 5 innings and leave, and this bet wins. He just can't go back out for the 6th inning. And given his leash, given Coors Field, I think this one is looking pretty good.
Yeah, I really like this angle. This is one of those areas where maybe a less tuned in bettor might look at his game log, see he's gone over this 3 of his last 5 starts. But like you mentioned, he was able to keep the pitch count down in those starts. Even going 6 innings last time out against the Angels, he only threw 74 pitches. Topped out at 82 against the Blue Jays 3 starts ago, where he threw 5 2/3. So a nice zag here on Horton under. You never know the Coors effect, especially these young guys pitching there for the first time. Going to be interesting to see. So I really like that prop tonight. My best bet tonight, I'm going with the Padres on the money line against the Twins. I think the best available price as of this recording is minus 124 at FanDuel, around the minus 130 range, most sports books you look. If you listen to this podcast regularly, you know I've been all aboard the bandwagon of Zebby Matthews from a strikeout perspective. Cashed a couple nice wins on his K-overs, some ladders. But even though he misses bats, Zebby is still not yet really a good major league pitcher. He walks too many guys, gives up a lot of fly balls and a lot of home runs. I trust the San Diego lineup to get to him tonight. The Padres are a top 10 offense against right-handed pitching. They've been even better since the trade deadline. Over the last month, they have a 118 WRC plus against righties. We've seen Zebby get roughed up just recently by worse offenses than this, like the White Sox. In his last start, the Padres offense also walks at a decent clip. Top half of the league in walk rate against right-handed pitching. Troubling for a pitcher like Zebby and his control issues. On the other side of this matchup, I'm going to echo something our colleague Sean Zerillo has said on this podcast a few times of late. Nestor Cortez isn't as bad of a starting pitcher as he's likely perceived publicly. He has a few stinkers from time to time when teams are able to elevate their fly balls against him. He was obviously on the receiving end of the torpedo bat barrage by the Yankees on opening weekend way back in March or April. His third start with the Padres a few weeks ago against San Francisco, he gave up 3 home runs in the first inning, again an opening barrage, and then he cooled down the Giants offense the rest of the way. Some speculation maybe he was tipping pitches in that start or something, but either way, he corrected it. The rest of that start was fine. Last time out, he threw 6 innings of 1-hit ball against the Dodgers in a huge game for both teams. Tonight he gets to face a Twins offense that half of the hitters in the lineup just kind of look like they've quit or playing out the string of the season. Lost season in Minnesota, obviously. They did show some life over the weekend in Toronto, but they got outscored 15-3 in their last 2 games against the White Sox before that. This offense is in the bottom half of the league against lefties for the season. Since trading everyone at the deadline, they've been even worse. 84 WRC plus against Southpaws. That's 22nd in baseball. I'm not sure why this line is as close as it is. I think it's just some perception that Cortez is a worse pitcher than he really is. So give me the Padres tonight. Probably minus 140 or better is where I would bet that. Let's move on to favorite underdogs tonight. Underdogs plus money props. Derek has another prop here. I mentioned Jonah Tong making his major league debut tonight for the Mets. Yuri Perez on the other side for the Marlins in that start, and you've got a target on a Mets hitter tonight.
I do, yeah. I'm looking at Juan Soto to hit a home run tonight, plus 450 at FanDuel is the best odds on the board right now. You don't see good odds on star players like super often, but when you see them, it's always nice because, I mean, I could just say he's Juan Soto and stop the analysis there. I'll go on, but that does really help that he is Juan Soto. Facing Yuri Perez, who is, I think, a really good pitcher, has certainly been good at preventing home runs this year, but I think maybe that's why we're getting some of this number. When you look at his actual game logs, Yuri Perez has only pitched in a park that boosts home runs twice out of his 14 games. He's pitched at home in Miami, which is a extreme home run suppressing park. And then everywhere else he's pitched on the road has been home run suppressing parks outside of Cincinnati and Baltimore, I think were the two. So going into New York, which people don't really consider to be like a hitter's park, and it's not, but it is slightly above average for home runs. It's like the one hitter friendly quality that it has. And so I think when you put that together and you look at the composition of the Marlins bullpen tonight, they have quite a few guys that are going to be tired and probably unavailable. But the one guy in their bullpen that is fully rested and that we may see for maybe a couple innings is Valenti Balazzo, who is not particularly good. So if Soto can get in at bat against him, that would definitely help our cause here.
Perez, 33.5% ground ball rate on the year, so obviously allows a lot of fly balls as well. You mentioned plus 450 at FanDuel. Those home run odds jump around book to book. Do you have a price point? Do you have a cutoff point for where you would bet Soto to?
I'd probably take him down to plus 415, I'd say.
Okay. So plus 450 on Soto to hit a home run tonight, down to about 415. Derek's favorite plus money prop tonight. I'm going with the more traditional underdog tonight. I've been looking for ways to strategically fade Robbie Ray throughout the season. I think this is a good spot tonight against the Orioles and Dean Kramer. Ray got off to an incredible start to the season, as you know, but has faded a bit in the second half. His ERA hit its low water mark of 2.43 right at the end of May. Since the start of June, he's pitched like a much more average starter. ERA in the mid-threes. Not bad by any means, but not ace-like, as I feel like Ray is sometimes treated in the market. More concerning for Ray moving forward is he's no longer missing bats at an elite as elite of a level as he once did. His K rate is the lowest it's been in any season where he pitched a meaningful amount of innings since its first full season in Arizona, way back in 2015. His just pure whiff rate of 12.6% is lower than it's been since 2016. On one hand, you'd kind of expect a now 33-year-old starter to kind of cool down in that department, at least to a certain extent. But the problem is that Ray is still walking the world. From just a raw total standpoint, he leads the majors in walks. He's inducing swings on pitches outside the strike zone at his lowest rate since 2018, and the highest percentage of contact when throwing the ball in the strike zone since 2015, again, his first year in Arizona. It's not a great recipe for success. The expected stats all have pointed to regression for Ray all year long. He still sports a great ERA because of his great start to the season, but this is not a true talent pitcher with a sub-3 ERA. The Orioles, it should be noted, are not a great offense against left-handed pitching. That's probably the reason for this line. They're solidly bottom 10 by WRC plus for the season, so that'd be your counter to betting on them tonight. But I also have faith in Dean Kramer, who I think if you look up the definition of number 4 starter, you'd probably see a picture of him. Just a perfectly competent innings eater. He's going to put up between probably like 1.5 and 3 WAR every year. But when Kramer gets roughed up, it's usually one of two things not uncommon for pitchers: walks or home runs. Well, he's settled down in the walks department this year. He's cut more than a full walk per nine off his resume from 24 to this year. Also, the Giants are a great offense to face if your issue is with allowing home runs. They're a bottom 10 offense in ISO, bottom 5 offense in slugging percentage against right-handed pitching. The wind is blowing out in San Francisco tonight, so if he gets dinged, that would be my reason for concern. Giants are able to loft a few, get it up in that breeze. That would be a reason to counter, betting on Kramer and the Orioles tonight. But overall, I think this pitching matchup is closer than people might expect. The Giants' offense is easy to sell at this point in the season for me. So I like the Orioles on the money line as underdogs tonight at plus 125. Football season is here, folks, and we've got some huge improvements and updates coming on the award-winning Action Network app, which we're very excited to discuss in the weeks ahead. But to get the most out of the app, you've still got to be an Action Pro subscriber. It's only with Action Pro you get real-time pick alerts from me, Derek, Sean Zarillo, the entire Action Network team of experts. Plus, you can access pro projections powered by Sean Kerner and our predictive analytics team, and a ton of other benefits. And right now, with football season here, Payoff Pitch listeners can save $20 off the annual price of Action Pro. All you have to do is go to actionnetwork.com/pro and use code PAYOFF20. Again, that's actionnetwork.com/pro, code PAYOFF20 for $20 off the annual price of Action Pro. All right, final bets time here. I'll go first here because I have two, and Derek just talked about betting on Juan Soto home run tonight. So I'm going to Queens as well and fading the young Jonah Tong, who I mentioned in a very specific way, making his debut in Mets Marlins. I'm a big fan of Tong, just generally, big prospect pedigree. Should really help the Mets down the stretch. He has a bright future in this league for sure. But I really love betting on a few walks in a prospect's debut, unless they're known as like real control artists. Tong isn't as wild as some pitching prospects you might see, but he's certainly not immune to it. His walks per nine sitting in the 2.5 to 3.5 range in the minors this year. But, it's your major league debut. You're pitching at home for a playoff contender. You're a little bit amped up. And we're getting over 1.5 walks right now at plus 132 at Bet365. I don't get that at all. I'd bet Tong over 1.5 walks to probably minus 110 or so if the line moves or if it opens at another book and you're shopping around. The Marlins aren't the most patient team in the world, but their walk rate has improved since the trade deadline. Their one notable move was trading Jesus Sanchez. Obviously a very talented hitter, but also not the most patient hitter in the world. Against a debuting pitcher, I'm sure they're going to want to see his stuff. They'll be a little more patient, and if Tong's amped up, he could get wild. So I love the value on getting over 1.5 walks for Tong tonight, especially at plus money. Derek, we've turned the tables a bit late in the pod. You were all props early. I was all sides and totals. Now I'm in my props era, and you're going with a total for your final bet tonight in Los Angeles for Diamondbacks Dodgers. Pitching matchup there of Zach Gallen against Blake Snell.
Yes, I am looking at the game total over 8.5 minus 102 at MGM is the best line as of this recording. The bat's projecting over 10 runs here. I think it comes down to perception more than anything else. So we have Blake Snell and Zach Gallen on the mound. I think these guys are more name value than substance at this point. Everyone knows who they are. They're considered really good pitchers, but neither is the guy they used to be. Their stuff plus, both of them, is down this year. Their peripheral numbers are down this year. And I think this is kind of a sneaky good hitting environment, not to mention, obviously, really good hitting, especially on the Dodgers side. People don't really think of Dodger Stadium when they think of extreme hitters parks, but it has played extremely hitter-friendly for long enough now that the Bad X is considering it the second best hitters park in baseball after Coors Field and the best home run park in baseball, even ahead of Great American. Plus, it's starting to cool off weather-wise around the country, but it is still close to 80 degrees in LA, third best hitting weather of the day in terms of air density. And so this one, the over looks pretty good to me.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'll piggyback you right into my final bet of the night. I'm with you on the total. I'll add, I'm fading Blake Snell tonight. I'm betting him under 6.5 strikeouts against Arizona in this game tonight. So it goes right hand in hand with that total. He obviously has huge K potential at his peak. Made 6 starts this year. We saw him get to 10 strikeouts against Toronto earlier this month. He had 8 Ks against Tampa in the start before that. The Dodgers have also been upping his workload, which is notable. He topped out at 97 pitches last time out against the Padres. That's going to be really key for them heading into the postseason to have a fully actualized version of Snell. What that fully actualized version is, to be determined. As you said, Derek, more name value than production at this point in his career. And I just think 6.5 is a little too high tonight against an Arizona offense that isn't one of the most swing happy in the league. Against left-handed pitching this season, they actually have the 3rd lowest K rate in the majors. Now, I know they sold some parts at the deadline. Eugenio Suarez and Josh Naylor most notably went out. So I looked since August 1st. The K rate is against lefties is still 11th lowest in baseball. So not a considerable jump, even losing those 2 bats. Obviously, Naylor being a lefty bat, you'd think it would actually help their K rate without him in there. Snell, as I said, his high K upside, but I think this is probably one too high. I opened the app this morning. I expected to see his K total sitting at 5.5. So getting 6.5 and the under here is really good value. The under is being priced between minus 125 and minus 145 right now at various books. And that seems about right for me. So Snell under 6.5 bets. My final bet of the day. That'll do it for today's episode of Payoff Pitch. Thanks for tuning in. If you'd like to tail some of the bets from today's episode, look for the quick slip links in the episode description. Don't forget to download the free award-winning Action Network app. And also don't forget to leave us that 5-star rating and review wherever you listen to your podcasts. Also check out the Action Network Discord channel. There's a link in the episode of this podcast as well. We will not be back on Monday. We're taking the day off for Labor Day. Enjoy the holiday, everyone. Enjoy the long weekend. We will instead be back for you on Tuesday with another episode of Payoff Pitch. For Derek Carty, I'm Collin Whitchurch. Thanks for listening to Payoff Pitch, Action Network's MLB betting podcast. Have a great weekend and good luck with all your bets.